So, Boris Johnson threatening lockdowns again, apparently. So I've read, because I didn't watch this seminar or this public conference meeting, because when I watched them, they literally just bore me to tears. So we're not going to go and watch the 1 hour video. No, we're just going to try and find a short video that tells us what we need to know. So let's scroll along. So threatening lockdowns again, even though they say 90% of people have been vaccinated. But that's not enough now, because we need to have booster jabs. What about herd immunity? Shouldn't we have herd immunity now? And also, the vaccinated can still spread the virus. So it doesn't make any difference. In fact, the ones who get jabbed almost act like an incubator, if you like, for the virus, because, well, you can still spread it, as was said by the experts several months ago. So let's have a little look. Just listen to this and I'll just react to it. This is hopefully going to give us the these two videos here will give us the gist of what's going on. The government's plan. Government's dictatorship, plan. Oh, by the way, Joe Biden, I've got a video coming on Joe Biden, because how can he mandate vaccines and not have any similarity to the dictatorship like China and someone like that, who mandate vaccines and force people to get them? See, the UK government's being a bit more coy and a bit more mind-gamey, but you know they want the same thing, right? Oh, you want your freedom, you have to get your jab. But maybe they use the COVID passport along with climate change as well. Maybe have climate change lockdowns and climate change restrictions, as some people are already calling for online. Save it for another video.
You're gaming across dozens of accounts. All of your inventory is filled with valuable
we get to advertise someone else's company, isn't it?
I think this country should be proud, continue to be very proud, that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine remains the workhorse of global immunisation. And we will keep further measures in reserve. Plan B. We do not see the need now to proceed, for instance, with mandatory certification.
Yet.
But we'll continue to work with the many...
See, it's kind of like the carrot and stick or control reaction solutions type style thing, where they tell you something is not happening and then they do it anyway. You see, so they want to do the vaccine passports, just that they've got a lot of public resistance and they don't want the backlash. So they decide to, try and say that they're not doing something. But how many times we had something, them say they're not going to do something, and they just go ahead and do it anyway. You see?
Businesses that are getting ready such a scheme. Indeed, over 200 events have already used COVID certification voluntarily. And it's just not...
That's another thing with this whole entire thing about, like, the government won't enforce it. Well, the government won't make it policy or whatever, or law. Masks and what else? Or masks and social distancing is supposed to have, left shops and workplaces, but it's still in shops and workplaces everywhere I go. So although the restrictions are supposed to have ended, it just basically passed that power on to the companies and businesses instead. So, for example, Boris Johnson might say, oh, we don't need you to take vaccines. You're not forced to take a vaccine. But then your employer will go, well, we believe you're putting our staff at risk because you're not vaccinated. So therefore we don't think you can work for our company anymore. Yeah, government didn't do it, the company did it. Or you go to the shop and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't come into the shop because you haven't got a vaccine passport." Yeah, we know they're not mandatory or needed, or you don't need to by law provide a passport to us to come in the shop. But we feel to keep our customers safe, we feel that you cannot come into the store. Yeah, you can shop at home though. Yeah, shop online. Maybe a landlord will say, "Oh, well, we know the vaccine passports and are not mandatory, and we know that it's your choice not to be vaccinated, but as you're not vaccinated, we feel that we can't provide you with our service anymore because you might be putting other residents at risk." You see. What about if you're a parent and you don't want your kids having the vaccine? Social services is at the door, like they already do when you refuse to give your children vaccines. I made a comment to somebody, and they said to me, "Oh, Oh, don't be ridiculous! You think the police are going to come to your door about not taking the coronavirus vaccine, or not letting your kids take the coronavirus vaccine?" Yeah, they already come at your door anyway, and investigate why you don't allow your children to have normal vaccines. Yeah, so yeah, they can. So maybe they're all sorts of coercion tactics as well. It's like they say it's like a free will to have the jab, but how is it when they're using all sorts of different coercions and or you're better off just having it sort of mentality. You can't go to the pub without the vaccine. Oh, if you don't want the vaccine, you could be tested every week. Now, I don't know about you, but mouth swab is doable, but I still wouldn't do it anyway, out of principle. But the test they use at where I work is the nasal thing, where they shove a very large Q-tip right up in the nose, right underneath the pineal gland or pituitary gland in the brain. Same area they go to lobotomise you back in the day with a needle shoved up the same area. And then there is some talk of there being a chemical that is a DNA disruptor on the end of the Q-tip, but we won't go into that at the moment. I just don't want something shoved up my nose right in that area. Too many movies, too many TV shows, the X-Files. That area of the brain there is basically the seat of the soul. It's where your brain, basically the core of your brain is there, so I wouldn't really want to be shoving anything up there, really. So it's just my own personal thing, so yeah. And out of principle, I'm not going to get a mouth swab either, so yeah. Being tested like an animal each week is not really an option, and being vaccinated is not an option. Even if it was the safest thing in the world, I would still refuse it out of principle, because I don't believe that the whole entire earth should be a medicated society subservient to their government in order to live. They've got to take medication, got to do this, got to do that. This is not freedom, that's a dictatorship.
To rule out completely this kind of option now, when we must face the fact that it might still make the difference between keeping businesses open at full capacity or not.
Don't forget, an ideal situation for a government or future governments that's being planned is basically cashless society, or societies that don't need to work, and basically everyone sort of has a minimum wage sort of benefit. Yeah, universal credit basically, or universal income, because so many people are out of work or businesses don't work. I mean, most small businesses are only going to be able to survive if there's not a lockdown on government handouts or government paperwork that allows them to have government money basically to keep them going. And that's another thing as well, like just like the jabs, to keep everybody under control and subservient. Also businesses that have control over your business. You've got to do this, got to do that. You have to follow the rules, otherwise your business doesn't get any funding and you don't get to basically operate it.
We will also keep open the option of mandating face coverings as they have elsewhere, or advising people again to work from home, reflecting the fact that...
Well, talk about face coverings. There's people who wear face coverings at work, for example, or in the shop. I can't talk to them. I don't talk to them. Because part of the face is basically missing. You know, I thought that after restrictions would go, or I thought that when the government said, oh, well, it's not going to be mandatory or law, it never was law in the first place, but if you can read the small print, I thought that people would, stop wearing masks, but people are still wearing masks at work and other places. And it's kind of like a social aspect, see, so you can't see their face, so I don't really want to talk to them. You don't know if they're smiling, if they're angry, so I just don't talk to them. It's a sort of social thing. I don't speak to them because I can't see them, basically.
When you've got a large proportion of the country, as we have now, with immunity, then smaller changes can make a bigger difference and give us the confidence.
Shouldn't everybody have the immunity now? Shouldn't everybody either have the vaccine or the ones that haven't been exposed to the virus now? Surely. It's constant BS. Where's this herd immunity they told us about?
So we don't need to go back to the lockdowns of the past. And of course we'll continue to update our advice to you based on the latest data. But in the meantime, we are confident in the vaccines that have made such a difference to our lives.
Alright, well, they haven't really made any difference because I had a Delta strain type illness. Let me just describe it real quickly. So, started in bed, like 48 hours, extreme headache, vomiting, and then after that, cold and flu symptoms lasted for like 2 weeks, up and down. I recovered every now and again, and then all of a sudden I'll be ill again, and puking up and migraine. Meanwhile, my sister has been vaccinated, both jabs. She basically had exactly the same illness as what I had, pretty much. So basically the vaccine did nothing to stop her, one of my three sisters, getting sick. So, yeah. I'm yet to see the evidence that this vaccine actually does anything other than mark your body's DNA for some unknown purpose. I'm bored now, so